Yo, what's up, everybody? You already know who it is. This is gonna be a very serious video that will cover maybe some issues that some people aren't too comfortable with hearing or anything like that. I'll give warnings for some of the pictures I'm gonna show that has some blood in it and such. And a needle in the arm, stuff like that. I'll give warnings throughout the video. But I'm gonna try to have this be condensed somewhat and not be 40 minutes of my experience with Crohn's disease. So, for those of you who don't know, Crohn's disease is a autoimmune disease. People really aren't too sure how it happens, but the best way I can describe it is inflammation of somewhere in your gastrointestinal tract. So anywhere in the gastrointestinal tract, in your digestive system. So for me, I had it in the small intestines, and from what I've looked at, apparently that one is more painful, and it can lead to blockages in your GI tract, specifically obviously in the small intestines. So Crohn's disease, inflammation. If I had to describe it, I guess you could say arthritis for your intestines. I don't know if that's the best way of putting it, but that's just kind of way I put it so people could maybe get a clear picture of it. Before I had Crohn's disease, I was never really sick. I was rarely sick, always healthy, fairly active. There was a time in my life where I was overweight. But I was always in sports. Didn't play them for a while, got overweight. Friend showed me the gym, loved it, fell in love. And then in my early 20s, all of a sudden I started feeling very sick. I started puking everywhere all the time. I couldn't keep any food down. My stomach was absolutely killing me, to the point where I was floored for hours and hours and hours, like moaning in pain, completely immobilized. So I went to the emergency room a few times. They just said food poisoning. You're all good. Go home. You're otherwise, other than this pain, a healthy, early 20-year-old male. Because at the time, I was around 200 pounds of muscle. Right now, I don't know if you think I'm pretty blocky, but right now I'm about 170, a little over. So at the time, I was 200. So like, the hell? So anyways, that was on and off for a year of me going to the hospital, coming back, going to the hospital. I got to the point where I said, why even go to the hospital anymore? They're not going to do anything. But one day was really bad. I went to the gym. Yep, I still tried going to the gym through all this. I would be in pain for hours and hours. I would warm up to go to the gym, and it would take me hours to warm up because I'd be in that much pain. So I go there, and I could barely lift anything without almost fainting because of all the inflammation and all the internal bleeding that was going on. I just had no red blood cells left to give, I guess. So I almost passed out quite a few times, and I said, something's wrong, I'm going home. Later that night, I had chills to the bone. I was frozen for 30 seconds, boiling hot for 30 seconds, on and off. It was terrible. So after a year of going to the emergency room, one doctor was so kind enough to bring me in. He's now my GI doctor, my gastroenterologist, and he said, okay, you lost 40 pounds in a year. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. You're not leaving without a diagnosis. So that's what happened. I was in the hospital for 30 days, and then after I went back for 14 right after, because even on all the drugs, I went back because I was in extreme pain a day later, and they kept me there for another 2 weeks. But Yeah, that was a very interesting experience for somebody who hasn't been to a hospital ever. So I was in there for 30 days. It took them so long to get a diagnosis because it was very deep in my small intestines. When I got the diagnosis, I didn't know what it was, didn't know what was going on, didn't know if I was gonna live or die. I was very depressed beforehand. That was already affecting me somewhat, negatively, of course. And with this now on top of it, I was very not well mentally. I mean, I wanted to die. I was not happy. But obviously I did have it right here. I went home after all that. It was a very new learning experience. I was on a lot of drugs. I'm gonna show a picture now of me with an IV. For those of you who are squeamish towards that. Oh, well, I guess first of all I should not get carried away and show my drastic weight loss from, having this disease. So I don't know how much I weighed there, but as you can tell, that's quite a bit smaller than what you're used to seeing me. And so that was probably after the hospital visit for when I was there for 40 days. And so here's the typical treatment day. I just sit down and get a needle poked in me, an IV, and I sit there for 3 hours and I feel very tired. That's pretty much it. Kind of funny, kick in the ass from life, I guess, was the very first treatment I had. Out of all the days, it was my birthday. It was my birthday, my very first treatment. Like, so here you go. Enjoy that one there, warrior. Thanks. But hey, what can you do, right? So, to summarize the years, because I believe it was 5 years or 4 before I had surgery, any surgeries, pretty much every day was pain. I don't say that as like a joke. Literally every day. The quality of life was absolutely horrendous. I was in pain every day. I didn't feel good every day. I still tried my best. And I went to a psychologist actually. And he was talking about this with me. And he said, how much does this affect you? And, I kind of just said a very almost generic answer of, oh, it doesn't bother me at all. I can do better and I need to do better. But later that night, I was thinking, it really does make a huge difference, especially coming from where I am sitting now. Not being in pain every day, not being low on iron because you're internally bleeding every day. You don't really want to be social because you can't go out and eat certain foods, and people who do know will question if you can eat that food, or, oh, hey, you lost a lot of weight. So it creates a very isolated environment as well, because not too many people are familiar with it as well, so it could be kind of a lonely place. But it is what it is, right? So after all that, I still did my best with everything. In the gym, for example, if anybody creeps on my Twitter, you would see that this is a pinned tweet. This is actually from before I had surgeries, and this was probably a few months after I got out of the hospital, actually. The 40-day visit where I got diagnosed. So the doctor saw my iron wasn't getting better. My levels weren't getting better of white blood cells, indicating an overactive immune system in the region. So he wanted to see what was up, and he made me swallow a pill camera that was about the size of half my thumb. And that ended up actually getting stuck in my in the inflammation. It actually ended up getting stuck. It was not painful. I did not feel it. But yeah, So you obviously can't have a camera just laying embedded in you. So they wanted to get me in for surgery, a laparotomy. If you don't know what that is, that pretty much just means opening up your abdomen. So I have a huge 6-inch, they did a huge about 6-inch incision near my belly button. The scar is still there. It's fading away a little bit, but so it's still there. And that probably was honestly a blessing in the long run, because maybe I wouldn't have gotten the surgery until much later and been living in pain for so much more. So here is just me in the hospital bed, throwing up the thumbs up. I was streaming before this happened. I warned my viewers that I wouldn't be live for quite some time with this surgery, so I thought I'd give them a thumbs up there to let them know everything's A-okay. So that was a weird feeling because I'd never had a surgery. I was scared going into it because I knew there was a possibility I could, die. But right before I said, you know what? Why even worry? Because if something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. If it doesn't happen, it's not gonna happen. So I just went in it calm, cool, collected. If something goes wrong, we'll deal with it later if I can. If it goes good, great. It was very weird waking up. I felt the incision in my abdomen. I felt the split and it being held together by sutures and staples. Or actually it was just staples actually. Which I don't know why they elected to do that, but anyways. As you'll find out later here. That was one of the worst experiences of my life. Probably the worst experience of my life. So, take somebody who is physically active, love being physically active, and after all that, sitting in a hospital for 40 days, having that huge surgery, not being able to do anything, months and months of recovery. I literally had to lay in a hospital bed that we rented, so I was just laying it in the house for a month or so, maybe even more actually, maybe 2 months. And I was just sitting in there, just sitting, thinking about life, thinking about everything. So it was a moment in time of reflection, of looking forward to things, of anything you could have thought of in isolation like that, I thought of. God bless my family for supporting me through all that. As they've supported me through everything in my life. The pain was horrendous. I don't know if it was called gas pains, but the pain was absolutely horrendous. Even though I was on extreme drugs, the pain ate right through it. It was so bad. Months of excruciating pain I could not handle. There was no way of handling it. It was worse than the Crohn's pain untreated by far. Like out of 10, it would be 100. It was god awful. But after all that, starting to feel better, start to walk more, start to exercise a little bit, get the body going. I was going for a walk, and all of a sudden I had an extreme pain in my abdomen, and I said, God damn it, it's back. I thought it was Crohn's disease. I was really worried because after the surgery, the laparotomy, I had no pain with it, no problem at all. It was a blessing. Well, I was worried. I go to the hospital and they find out it's just a hernia. Hernias can be very dangerous, but it was a wide neck hernia because the incision didn't heal, so I could pretty much feel my intestines if I poked it. So that wasn't fun. So I needed to go back for another surgery, which, by the way, both surgeries were pretty much on Christmas. Very good. So I haven't really had a normal Christmas in a while there. So we go back to the surgery room, and I'm about to show one surgery picture. This will have blood, so just be careful. It won't be anything too crazy, okay? So here is a picture with after the surgery. As you can see, my abdomen is extremely bloated after the hernia surgery. They put a mesh in there. You know, I don't have a surgery of my other, I don't have a picture of my other surgery. This is the only one I took a picture of because the doctor that I was seeing for my staples said it was like looking into a black hole. So she didn't want me to faint looking at it pretty much. So as you can see, they made 5 small incisions and did their thing. Here's another picture. This one is gonna have blood in it. So this is a little blood bag that they put into one of those holes and to drain the internal bleeding of the hernia surgery. And man, getting that thing pulled out of me, that felt weird. I felt the, because there's a long, pretty much wire with a bunch of holes where the blood kind of goes through and in there. So when they pulled it out, she pulled it out slow, and I could feel it come across my inner abdomen and just kind of pop out. Okay, no more gore pictures for this whole rest of this video. And I'll leave this picture up for a bit. This picture, my grandmother, well, I took this picture leaving after the hernia surgery. My grandmother came into the hospital to visit me, and she brought that beautiful swan. For more background of this ordeal, my grandfather passed away a little bit before, about a year or two before all this happened. So everybody was really worried about my health, and especially the first hospital visit, and thought maybe I was on the way out, I guess you could say. So it was very emotional for a lot of my family. You know, I don't want to see them in any pain or grief or anything. So it was really bad to see them all down, but it was good to see, you know, their faces when I stand up tall now, you know, and after everything. So, which I guess, well, it doesn't lead me into the end yet. Because the pains of the other surgery, the hernia surgery, were really bad as well. Fucking terrible. Not as bad as the first one, but they were really, really, really bad. And I had to be pretty much on a sofa the whole time. I had to have a hernia waist belt thing, which I still have over there. But the one negative of the medication I was on is it lowers your immune system. So during this whole COVID thing, you know, that's not a good mix. So I had to be extra careful. I had to isolate. And after all that COVID, I was getting my life in a pretty good place. COVID came and stomped that out, but that's okay. You know, just like my other challenges in life, I'll rise to the occasion always. You know, depression, Crohn's, COVID, it doesn't matter. I'm going to always put my best foot forward and step up to the plate. Knock that fucker out of the park. Which leads into my lessons here. You know, this was a very painful experience. I don't wish it on anyone. I had moments where I, you know, had plans to kill myself, all that. Pain every day, no matter what. I don't know what to say. I wanted to beat this, and I feel like I have beaten it, and I will continue to do so. One of the most important lesson I've learned is to never give up on yourself. Never do that with anything. You know, when you're down and out, or when you think you're down and out, you're gonna look back years from now and say, why'd I even worry? Like, this thing came against me. I'm me. What do I have to be worried about? You know what I mean? Like, you picked the wrong person here. I learned that we learn from our trials. They end up making us way stronger than without them. To face them, and don't be a victim. Don't lay over, and accept it. With Crohn's, I had to make so many adjustments, with my eating, with my stress. I read up on books on how to lower stress, not be as, emotionally reactive, I guess you could say, or angry, or, you know, take it one day at a time, one step at a time. And, you know, I don't tell any of this I don't say any of this story reflecting back. I don't say any of this. I don't do this charity stream. I don't do anything like this. None of this is for me. I don't want any, sympathy or anything. Like I said on my stream, there shouldn't be any feels bad or no sad, anything like that. No sad emotions. I want this to be an uplifting thing. Yes, there were very sad times. Yes, there were very rough times. But I'm gonna face those challenges head on, and it's not gonna stop me. It really did pick the wrong person to mess with, and I wish you all do the same with any challenges you have out there in life too. I'm telling this for people out there who might be suffering from Crohn's disease or have family. I'm doing this for the people who may be suffering from something else, maybe depression, maybe anxiety, maybe an eating disorder, maybe a disease, anything. Broken heart, it doesn't matter. Anything. You can rise up. I'm doing this for all the kids out there. Kids are born with Crohn's disease. That I guess you could say that's one of the, well, at least this is my opinion, one of the good things of me having it is, maybe that took it away from someone else having it. So, I'll take that on, much rather me than innocent kid. They should be having fun. They should be playing. They should be enjoying their childhood, not sitting in a hospital. So that's a really big reason why I choose to speak on this. Because, and for the people who are suffering Crohn's, who may be watching this, you don't know me, or even if you do, I understand it could be a very lonely place. Try to be patient with people, try to explain to people, try to find a good support group, because it is worth it. So please do that, and all gather up to beat this thing in the ground, to conquer it. So let's conquer this bitch. Let's conquer Crohn's disease. Let's conquer everything, okay? And again, any issues you may come across in life, face it, and never, ever, ever, ever give up on yourself. Never. And my dreams all fade away.